Hello and welcome. My name is Promise Sodera Onu. Today, I just want to quickly look at what should be the best practices when it comes to government licenses, acquiring government licenses, and fuel subsidy, which is a hot topic. Fuel subsidy is a hot topic because things are very, very bad, especially in Nigeria. Things are very hard everywhere right now. I mean, but those abroad, those in the UK, the West, elsewhere, because of the ongoing war in Ukraine. But apart from that, there is also major issues in Nigeria because of the massive corruption that we have in the land. People are really, really suffering. Nigeria boasts of the world, poverty capital. So at this particular point in time, what does it mean to remove the fuel subsidy? For me, my genuine advice is it's not time for us to remove the fuel subsidy, because in everything, in every policy, every stance that the government is taking, one thing and one thing only should be the focus. And what should that be? How does that impact the citizens? How does that impact the people? If your policy, if the government's actions are going to affect negatively the lives of the people, the citizens, then it's not worth implementing that policy. Buhari said he's tired, he wants to leave office, and it seems like he wants to create a big issue for whoever is going to take power, whoever that is. We're hoping that Mr. Peter Obi wins the legal battle and he reclaims his mandate. So, you see, when we look at government licenses, I'm talking about how government regulates the economy by, giving licenses to maybe companies that want to do some things in the country, countries that probably want to invest, countries that want to, companies that want to, or multinationals that want to invest or want to go into minings or anything, practice anything, maybe journalism or anything it could be that you probably need a government license for. You see, we need to be a very practical government. Government is not a lazy business. It's not something that people who are very passive get into. If you are getting into government, you are getting into power, then you must be up and doing. And one of the very important things that government does is to make sure that they regulate everything, basically. Regulate education, regulate oil production, regulate mining, regulate agriculture, regulate even, money policies, finance, regulate almost virtually everything. And one of those things is giving license. So you give license to those you think are genuinely interested in helping the government and the society at large, and at the same time revoke license of those you think who are engaging in criminal activities or not doing what you ask them to do. So if you give licenses to genuine companies, you also revoke licenses to those companies or those parastatals who are not doing the right thing. Not parastatals, those multinationals that are not doing the right thing. You can revoke those licenses, thereby stopping them doing whatever their interests are. And that's how you sort of control things. Now, you cannot revoke a license if there is no oversight, if there is no organization that checkmates what they are doing. Say, for example, you can't sack a teacher if you don't have hard evidence that that teacher has not been turning up to the school or teaching the students or being absent from classes for a good reason. So that said, I'm trying to link the two issues together. Fuel subsidy is something that if you remove now, a lot of people are going to bear the pain. We hear that Dangote refinery is about to come into power. We need to look at what exactly is our stake as a country on Dangote's private refinery. private refinery. I mean, Dangote might be publicly listed as a company, but also it is somebody's private venture. So Dangote is the one of Africa's richest man, and that shows you that he's running a personal enterprise. It's a personal business, okay? Because that's accumulates to his net worth. So when we are giving oil to Dangote's refinery, what is the agreement? So this is why I find it very, very skeptical when Buhari just signed into law that NNPC is now a limited company, because they stopped remitting money to states. The money they go to Abuja to share, NNPC was not forthcoming because they're not making any gain. And that happened for the first time under APC in the last 7 years. So you look at everything is crumbling. We're not making enough revenues to even, service our loans. And now we are borrowing money to service our loans and pay civil servants. So everything is in shambles, basically. Now, if we are going to remove oil subsidy, I for one believe not now, right? And again, I want to touch on another topic as well, because this is coming up. I know one of the persons I respect so much in Nigeria, especially whenever I see him on any topic, he is always stating the facts and speaking to the law. He's almost always quoting the law in everything he says, in every advice he says, is Mr. Falana, Far's dad, right? Mr. Falana SAN. Whenever channels calls this man up, everything he says is gospel, more or less, because he speaks to the constitution. But then I differ in his opinion when he says Nigeria should join BRICS. The reason I said this, listen carefully. Nigeria could join BRICS in the future, or join countries like South Africa to sort of sell our oil in Naira in the future. But now, you can't be pragmatic about that now. The reason is, who are the highest investors in Nigeria? Is it the Russians or the Chinese? No. I mean, our foreign policy is great. We don't have any war. Nigeria have not fought any war with anybody. So, I mean, we are very passive in terms of, in fact, we have a good relationship, let's put it that way, with the West, the East, whoever. So we do business with Russians, we do business with Chinese, we do business with the West. But there is a huge investment coming from the West that we cannot just neglect them now because of, Russia is fighting, the superpower, whatever, supremacy power with them. The reason is, yes, we don't like the way America will come up and tell us our Naira is worth 800 or, is worth 600 today. But at the same time, you need to understand that a lot of our international companies, a lot of our huge investments are coming from these two countries, America and the UK. Talk about Shell, talk about BP, talk about, most of our infrastructure, most of our huge investments, Eco-Atlantic, where is the money coming from? So America has seen Nigeria as an ally. We've been an ally for years. We are part of the Commonwealth. So this is not time for us to start pulling and just jumping ship with the Russians and Chinese in terms of joining the BRICS. And more to the point is that we are in huge debts, 78 trillion. So we are not in any way, you see, when you are doing business, right, for you to have some sort of power, you need to kind of be in, how do I say this? You can't be owing money and want to call the shots. If you are using a credit card and you are in debt, all right, and the credit card company comes to you and say, we are increasing our interest by, say, for example, 10%, like most of us now are experiencing, UK have the all-time high mortgage rates, and you can't do anything. They are the ones that gave you the money. You've accepted the money and the terms and conditions, so they can turn around and say, hold on, the money you are paying us 3.something% before, now we've changed it to be 5.something%, and you just have to pay because you are the borrowing, you are the person, you are the borrower. Hold on. So you don't have sort of a choice in that kind of business. But as soon as you are able to pay your loan completely, and they tell you from next month we're increasing our rates, you now have the power to say, you know what, I am not going into more business with you. I'm going to look elsewhere for somebody who have a cheaper rate. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Nigeria is not in a position to leave America right now or to leave the West right now. because we are owing a lot of money to the IMF, to governments of the West and East as well, because we borrowed from China. But we can see that China has stopped borrowing to us because, of course, our economy is a mess. But that said, if we are doing this decision, when Obasanjo paid back all our IMF loan and said, okay, we want to start selling our oil in our own terms, then that would be a different case. I would have agreed with Mr. Falana. But right now, no, we don't have that power. If we do anything contrary, America can even damage our... Go and check what is Zimbabwe's economy. Go and see what they did to Zimbabwe. So you don't want to get into that. Go and see what happened to countries like Ecuador and the rest of it. You don't want Nigeria to be in a situation where America will see us as a problem. Nah, not with all the money we are owing. If we're able to finish paying all our debts, and then we think, okay, we want to go into business with the brisk, then it will make sense. Okay, that said, coming back to fuel subsidy, like I said, this is not the time, right? We need to go into more production, less consumption, or even if it is more consumption, then we have to do even more production to have access to export. And at the same time, we have to go into more industrialization. And that way, when we are in a particular place that we know that poverty has reduced, then we can take away subsidy. You see, we need to start giving licenses, and I'm talking to the government right now. Government needs to start giving licenses to all these small refineries, because they are the ones that are going to save us. Whether it is going to make sense some people are arguing that it's not going to change anything. I was watching channels this morning, and one gentleman came and said, if you compare, he said that Nigeria is not an oil-rich country, that if you compare the number of barrels that Nigeria is producing to the Arabs countries, or the Arabic countries, that Nigeria is producing just about 2 million barrels compared to 200 million Nigerians. And say, for example, an Arabic country, any of them, or most of them are oil producing, are probably producing about, I think he was saying about 10 million to about 30 million citizens. So if you do the ratio, you can see they are probably more. But I beg to differ, because we are always trying to say, oh, fuel is cheapest in Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. But then in Arab, do you know how good their economy is? Do you know how good their human development index is? You can't just pick and choose one particular factor without comparing the other factor. All these factors are being utilized to come to the conclusion that Nigeria is very poor. Yes, yeah, what the person said is rubbish. Yes, because, I mean, Peter, these are people that, when I was listening to that guy, I said, these are people that speak to our politicians and enable them. This is why we have to keep speaking the truth, because our politicians hear different things. And I really commend a lot of our media personnel. I really commend a lot of these channel guys, these TV anchors, because they speak truth to these guys, even though these guys tend not to accept what this guy because most of the times the side of the story they hear are from some of these guys that feed them with lies. Hi, Peter.
Hello.
Yeah. It's good you came on, because we could have this conversation together. So
yes,
I was listening to the channel, and this gentleman came on. I think he was the SA to former Lagos governor on petroleum, right? So he was trying to say that that if you compare Nigeria in terms of oil production, we're probably about 2 million barrels a day, as against 200 million people, right? And then you compare any Arabic country. I'm trying to find it. Give me a name of an Arabic country that produces oil. So he was saying that, like, they produce about 10 million.
Let's say UAE.
Okay. No, I think it was in UAE, but then Saudi Arabia, for example, he said they make about 10 million barrels, right, compared to about something million people. So that will probably give you more probability. And then he says, because of that, we're not oil. But what these guys keep forgetting is that that's a wrong narrative, because what of other countries that don't even have any resources at all. What about other countries that don't have any national resource? So it's a very wrong narrative to run off with that particular comparison and say because of that Nigeria is not an oil state, because these are the people that speak to our politicians. He is an essay. He is a special advisor to a former governor. These are people that corrupt the minds of these governors and tell them, you know what? You see, I've heard this, and probably you've heard this before. They said, oh, Nigeria has the cheapest oil in the world. We sell our oil is the cheapest compared to other countries. But then they forget the minimum wage. They forget other factors.
Exactly. That's what they should be talking about. In fact, let me just quickly say something. I've said it before. Previously, I said subsidy can be done by Nigerian government and they will pay nothing to anybody. How can they do it? It's very simple. Do not every that and cement, when you sell it at a price and you, the seller of sand and cement, want to go and buy block, you will definitely buy the block at a higher rate than the rate you spend you used in selling the sand and cement. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
So if our fuel, if we are selling crude oil and we are buying petrol, we are buying diesel, and we are buying every other thing that comes from it, we are definitely going to spend more money to buy those things. So it simply means that the money we got from the sales of crude, we need to go and borrow money to add to that money to buy the product. And when we buy the product plus the corruption that is involved, because of the money that is going to be involved, it's massive. So what the government can do is very simple. Give license to people to build refineries all over Nigeria. Give them the license to buy crude. Subsidize the crude you are selling to local refineries. Sell to them at a subsidized price and tell them how much they are going to sell the fuel. Because they are not buying crude oil at the rate that other people are buying.
Yeah. God bless you, Peter. That's a very wonderful solution, and that's what I'm getting to. Now, a problem with, I think there's something shady with what they did with Dangote Refinery, right? Because when they made NNPC a limited company, right? And now they're trying to say that Dangote is going to come on stream very soon. But I don't understand the arrangement. Because Dangote is a limited company, which means it's a personal business. But how much regulation and oversight is going to be given to that refinery? Because once Dangote come on stream, people will just assume that Nigeria now has a refinery. But then what they will not understand is that that's a personal income. Or at best, a company's income. So what do you think with that particular Dangote deal?
The truth is, the Dangote deal, if they are thinking anything good will come out of it, anybody who is thinking like that, the person is just wasting his time.
Thank you, Peter. Let me help you before you continue. A good example is when they brought Dangote cement, right?
Yes.
Peter, you are in Nigeria. How much is cement now, a bag of cement?
The last time I checked, the bag of cement was 4,700 naira.
No, Peter, you're not correct. You're not correct. No.
That's the last time I checked. Because
the last time, Peter, cement now is more than 5,000 in the east. I mean, I know you are in Benin, but anybody that is in the east can confirm how much is bag of cement in the east. So let me tell you, Dangote and Bua and probably Lafarge and probably a few others have license to limestone in Nigeria. But that was the same limestone that the likes of Ibeto was producing cement, and we had cement as cheap as cement used to be. Like a bag of cement used to be like probably 800 something naira, or probably let's just say 1,000 naira.
Yes.
So making that go to the soul whatever, and then Bua came on board has not helped us. So what these guys are doing is frustrate Nigerians to now thinking that they really need Dangote's refinery as a substitute to fuel subsidy. But then what eventually happens is that when we now all depend to Dangote, being a private, of course, Dangote is the front because most of these our cabals are part of the business. They have shares in the business.
Exactly.
Now, they will still sell Nigerians a very high, excuse me, they will still sell Nigeria a very pricey oil or fuel, even though it is refined in Nigeria. Go ahead.
That's it. That's the point. The point is, if we think it's about the refining, then we are missing it. Because there was a time in 2016, if my memory serves me right, Buhari's government removed subsidy completely. In 2016, they completely removed subsidy. That was why petrol went from I think 97 naira or 85 naira. It went from 97 naira to 145 naira in 2016. It was a complete removal. And then the next thing we began to hear in 2019 was that, NNPC was saying that they may increase fuel price further. And then when they saw the backlash, they were now saying that the importers are saying that the landing cost per liter is more than 145 that government told them to sell since they have removed the subsidy. So they now introduced it again without formally letting Nigerians know that they have introduced fuel subsidy. So it was completely removed in 2016, and then by 2019, they found a way around it to now say, okay, for fuel not to increase, government want to pay some of the cost. And by the time they said government wanted to pay some of the cost, the subsidy jumped from hundreds of billions that used to be to trillions. So now they are now saying, we want to remove subsidy. So it was a very big shock to us, people like us who know. It was a shock to us that they are talking about removing what they have removed before.
I agree, because I remember when Goodluck was in power and he tried to remove subsidy, and they had that Occupy Nigeria, that protest. Now, after that protest, Buhari came in power, and one of the first things he did was to remove subsidy. And again, we start hearing that they are removing subsidy again. Yes, so I can agree to your testament.
Yes.
Now, another thing that I want us to sort of look at is this angle, right? It's like the electoral law.
Yes.
I mean, the Ninth Assembly is beating their chest that they've achieved a lot. I mean, most of the laws or the bills they passed are nothing to do with the Constitution. I mean, Goodluck looked at the Constitution more. But then, yes, they did the electoral law, and it's fantastic. A lot of people have been applauding the electoral law. Some people said it's because of the electoral law that Adeleke won Osun State back in the Supreme Court, which is fantastic. But what I tend to understand about Nigeria and Nigerian politics is that it's not the law, it's about the implementation. And more so, you can have fantastic laws, but then it is the people that will always fight. You see, when people are criminal in mind, right, no matter the law, they will find a way to break it or go around it. Do you understand?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
even if Dangote comes on stream, even if we are refining, I mean, they said Port Harcourt is coming up in probably the end of the year or January, there is still going to be problem. Because the thing is that most of these people in power are not there to help Nigeria. They are there to steal and send money to their families abroad and loot the money. They're not there because they genuinely want to help. And that is the biggest problem we have. It's not because our laws are not so fantastic. It's purely because those we have in power don't have the genuine mind to help Nigeria. Go on.
The truth is, anybody who talks about the electoral law and praise the legislature, I think the person is right to praise the legislature that they brought the electoral reform. However, those who implement the electoral laws, plus those who brought about the law, for example, the Senate President Lawan contested for the presidency in their primaries and lost. By the time he lost, the window was already closed for Senate, for him. And according to the law that he presided over when they were making the law, he saw it clearly that you cannot pick two nomination forms in one election. He saw it. They made the law. He's the Senate President. Now you have picked one nomination form for for presidency, you have lost. Then you now went back to pick a senatorial form and it was closed. They've already done the election. I think it's Machina, something like that. He won. And now this man who made the law, or who was a part of those who made the law, was so ignorant about the law that he went to court. And then the court interpreted the law that was written in English that is very clear to even a primary school child. They declared him the winner. And it really got me thinking. How could somebody have won an election that he didn't take part in? It's horrible. There is difference when somebody took part in an election and then they now said he got a lower vote. Then they now went to check and saw that it was rigged out. It's a different case. This one he did not contest.
He didn't. And the poor boy was on social, was on the channels begging that they are trying to steal a mandate. And guess what? They stole his mandate. The same people, listen to this, Peter. The same people that have these dual nominations. I don't know what kind of law that they manipulated, the court manipulated or interpreted that got them into position. Are the same people that are vying for Senate president. Listen, it's not just that they did what they did, yeah. I remember Akpabio was the first to give up his position for Tinubu in the primaries, right?
Yes.
Now, he's rewarding the same Akpabio with Senate presidency, right? Now, of course, there's commotion in APC and the National Assembly fighting South from producing the Senate president. But then, that said, the same Akpabio did not contest in that because, of course, he was in the primaries for the presidency. But then, look at the interesting thing. He is the same guy that has not just been in the Senate, but now going for Senate presidency. So, in Nigeria, we have a way of exalting criminality, and that is what kills me. It's like you have some people trying to champion the good of the people, and you still have some, either the judiciary or some part of the legislature and judiciary and executive combined, trying to fight this other. So it's like good versus bad, trying so hard in Nigerian affairs, and always the bad sometimes raise their ugly head. Because when you look at that's if you listen to Arise Sunrise today, you will see that gentleman. He was saying the most important thing is that Nigerians cannot trust the government or the political class anymore, even if they are taking away subsidy. And do you know the funny thing, right? I said to myself, why should the people suffer for the corrupt politicians after they've stolen all this money they've stolen? How many people have been held back for looting money? How many of them actually was caught? I think one is being arrested by EFCC for 2 billion. I've forgotten his name. He's an Hausa guy. Now, all this money that have been stolen supposed to be in the coffers of the Nigerian national account or treasury and used for the right purposes. Now you are telling the whole country to accept to go into penury. If people know that the government is trying and genuinely that they are broke and they need to sort of increase the sufferings of the people for the meantime, then people can trust the government. But what we have is that we have a country or a government that is very glaring to the people that they are anti-people, they are anti-progress, they are trying to, so why should we now be the ones paying by buying more fuel when we know the corruptness of our political class and how they are enriching themselves? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. You see, the thing is this. Look at what you said makes sense. That Nigerians cannot be responsible for the irresponsibility of the political class. You see,
exactly.
These political elites, a lot of them have companies that they use as SPVs. A lot of them. Now, they said Nigeria consumes. This was even under Jonathan. I'm not talking about now. Now they've not given us an official figure. That Nigeria consumes 24 million liters of petrol a day.
And you're producing only 2 or 1.
24 million liters. Now, the question I asked them is this. On Monday, you consume 24 million liters. On Tuesday, 24 million liters. Wednesday, 24 million. Thursday, 24. Friday, 24. Saturday, 24. Sunday, 24. But as somebody who drives within my city, on Monday, we usually get more rides on Monday in Uber and Bolt than we get on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then on Saturday, on Friday, we get more rides than Tuesday to Thursday. Saturday, we get more rides than Friday, especially because of the fact that throughout Saturday is a free day for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like driving on Saturday. They have been driving from Monday to work, So Saturday movement, they always want to do it on transport. Meaning that the number of cars that are parked in people's compound that don't buy fuel is high on Saturday. And then you will agree with me that a lot of workers, what they do is on Sunday, they fill their tank. So even when they are moving on Monday, they don't buy fuel on Monday. A lot of people don't buy fuel within the week. So if they fill their tank on Sunday, for some people, that full tank will take them for 1 week. So till the next Sunday, they are not buying fuel. So my question now is,
the government are not true to us. They are not telling us the truth. And most of the time, when they get all these their figures, I don't know where they get them from. And that's what you are trying to analyze.
That's what I'm analyzing. That if drivers who commute people up and down know that every day is not the same, the movement is not the same. A lot of people go to work on Monday, all right? They take work more seriously on Monday, Tuesday, than Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Friday, more people travel, but they don't travel within Monday and Thursday. You see, so a lot of people travel on Friday, they travel on Sunday. Friday, Sunday, rationally, we take more fuel. And then Monday, we still take. So, say, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the consumption is supposed to be higher than Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How come in Nigeria, every day is at equilibrium?
And
24 million liters.
And Peter, I want to add, in case they are looking for ways to get revenues, right? And I'm going to use Tinubu here as a case study with what happened in America. Thank God you revealed the original documents from the courts on your life. You see, one of the ways American government fund their departments in the police is money realized from narcotics. Okay, so sometimes if they do a bust, and they catch you live with cash or any narcotics, they will impound it, and sometimes they put those monies, in a secure place, but they can use those monies to fund some investigative processes or moves. So if Nigeria really wants to get revenues, there are enough criminal and corrupt politicians that you can go after in Nigeria and get money from them. I mean, if we are working on good intel, you can bust where their cash are kept and recover funds, because you can't allow people to come and steal money that belongs to 200 million people and then go back to the poor masses all the time to go and raise the power for them to kind of create money for you. These guys are already poor. 150 million people under poverty. And look at the nonsense they were saying on TV. Oh, that Buhari is proposing 800 million or something, and he sent it to the Senate for the Senate to approve it as money that they will use to cushion the suffering, that they are going to send money to 50 million people. During the palliative, didn't they claim they were sending money to poor people? Did you receive any money? Did any people receive any money? Sometimes when I hear some things in Nigeria, I wonder, what did these people take people? Like, we look like very, very uneducated, silly nobodies. They don't really give a damn about us. And
they do these things without any form of remorse or accountability. You know, they just do it. How can you say you are? And listen, they are getting that money for 50 million. You have 150 million under poverty, and you are getting money for 50 million to send to 50 million people for palliative. And that's where the question of, do you trust that the government are going to send that money to anybody? And the guy said, listen, I don't trust that they are going to send any cash to anybody, because they have. These are the same government that hit palliative during COVID. So we are in a very wicked dispensation of government, and we had the worst. When I talk about the worst government in the whole world, when it comes to corruption. And this is the thing: if they really want money, I know the place is a mess. They have to increase their hunts for corrupt politicians, recover funds, and expedite the court processes. Right? Expedite the cost processes to impound those properties and sell them on auction to be able to get funds. There is enough, I repeat, enough political players that are corrupt in Nigeria that you can get enough monies from to salvage the economy, and not coming to increase subsidy. People who are already poor, where are they going to get the money from? If you remove subsidy and fuel goes up to 1,000, you already importing what you should have been refining, and you are refusing for local refineries to work.
Let's even start from the money, the $800 million. Now, Nigeria has over 218 million people, and 3% of Nigerians are the richest people. In fact, 3% of Nigerians, according to a report once that I read on newspaper, 3% of Nigerians control 97% of the income of Nigeria, while 97% struggle over 3% of the income. According to CBN, over 90% or over 95% of Nigerians do not have up to 500,000 naira in their bank account. Over 95% of Nigerians do not have up to 500,000 in their bank account. This is CBN report. And now, in that report, what does that show you? It shows that the Nigerians that are poor are over 200 million. Then those who are living under poverty in Nigeria, because there's difference between being poor and living under poverty.
Under poverty line,
yes. If you live on $10 a day, you are still poor. Those who survive on $10 a day, they are poor people. They are poor. Those who survive below $1 a day, they are living far below poverty line. And a lot of people in Nigeria, today, look at the election, you will know how many people are really living under poverty line. Do you know how many million Nigerians were waiting for money to be shared during the election? The number that waited for money to be shared, there are tens of millions. There's a lot of some people
in that one, I'm not going to justify that one, because even our useless politicians also share money in elections. So I wouldn't call them call them poor as well, because they are rich, but they just want to. They see election as, if you want power, you have to spend. You have to keep.
Look at the point I'm making. There are Nigerians who didn't bother to go out to vote on election day.
Yes.
You know why? They knew that money will not be shared in the field because it's not available. So there are people who didn't even bother to come out because they know that I beg nothing will come outside. What's the essence? They stay house.
And a lot of people after the presidential election didn't bother coming out on the governorship because of what happened.
I'm telling you. So when you look, the poverty rate in Nigeria is just too alarming. Now they said they want to go and bring $800 million for 50 million people. Divide the money. It's $16 to one person. That's how they want to cushion the fuel subsidy
Just,
removal,
just,
$16 per
and I
person.
hear they said they are going to be giving 5,000 naira daily, and I'm like, who are you telling?
Five
Are you
thousand
talking
naira daily
to?
to
Are you talking to the World Bank or you are talking to Nigerians? Come on, man. We know you are going to eat this money the way you will be eating, and that's gonna be the
they
last
are
eating because
they are
you are
benefiting
leaving on the
us.
29th.
Do you know that they told us that they will spend $53 million to share the money? They will spend
And that's
$53 million
and that's
out
what they
of
that's what they always do. Thank God
the
they cancelled the census. If not, we would have wasted all those billions as well. You see,
so
this is why I
when
keep saying that.
do you know that if they remove $53 million, they will now be sharing $14.99. That's $14, no, not 99, $14.90 to one person out of the 50 million people. Then the question is, how do you even determine the 50 million people you are sharing the money to?
Of course, they know who they regard as Nigeria. Some part of Nigeria are not regarded as Nigeria. That's another topic. But you
But
see, what I'm trying to get
I
to is
feel
that
their motivation,
I
$53 million, that's their motivation. That $53 million that they can legitimately steal as the cost of sharing the money is the first motivation. The number two motivation, they know they will not share the money.
they said that the money will not come under Buhari's administration. That it's going to come with the incoming administration if it's approved by the Senate. But then this is it, right? They are trying to use it to justify the fuel subsidy. Now, under no circumstances is the fuel subsidy the best thing to happen. Now, whether you are facing it, you can't face it unless you do the needful. This is like no brainer. You need to study your terrain, understand what is going on. There is poverty in the land. How much is food? How much is bag of rice? How much is oil? How much is onions? How much is meat? Do you understand? So when you look at the subsidy, this is not the time. Regardless, they are eyeing that money they are paying, yes. But if you save that money, we still this corrupt. See, to put it in a very simple language, the main problem we have is corrupt leaders and corrupt people in power. Simple as. If somebody that genuinely wants to do the good work, wants to be transparent, should sit in finance office, should sit in budget office, should sit in executive offices, like all the new governors we are going to have. If all of them genuinely care about Nigeria, because I think we have had the worst of it. We've had the worst, most corrupt politicians in the world that they're always there to make sure that Nigerians are in excruciating pain. Because yes, there are a lot of people that are still doing good luck, but they were stealing with fear. They were stealing with fear of this APC. Go and check how much was still doing Buhari during good luck. You're gonna hear millions, millions. During this Buhari zone, during this APC, you are hearing billions, billions. Do you understand? Because they are stealing with no regard, for any comebacks, no regard for any consequences. And that is very detrimental to the growth of Nigeria. So what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying always, with my time on this page to sort of create a sort of atmosphere to give advices, to give solutions, to profess solutions to the government in case any of them is watching this. What you said is the best thing for us to do. We need to give licenses to local refineries, and subsidize, not subsidize now, but regulate the price by selling the crude cheaper to them. Because then, of course, it is going to be the local market. Do you know that they are saying that all this refined oil we are buying, Peter, are you hearing me?
Yes.
That Nigeria is actually selling that oil to foreign countries. And I think this thing has come up before that we are selling our oil to neighboring countries across, the countries we have land borders with. That Nigerian oil is popular in other African countries. So that oil that we are even buying, that we are subsidizing with Nigerian money, they are still selling it. So they're not even sending it to their Nigerian market, they are selling it to other African countries. This is why when you look at Nigeria, it makes you cry if you genuinely care.
Let me quickly ask a question. If we know, our government is aware that our people who are buying the petroleum products are selling it to people in Niger Republic, they are selling it to people in Ghana. Since they know, why can't they just arrest those people that are doing it? Are we
Because it
in
is
the
Oga
comfort?
at the top. Because it is the people in power that are doing this. How can you tell me that you are crossing this? There's a full documentary, like some TV stations, some journalists have done full documentary on this. They went into all these countries, saw that in black market Nigerian oil is very, very popular. They are making a lot of money from Cameroon, from all these neighboring countries. So how come our oil is being sold elsewhere and we are in fuel scarcity? Are you getting it? So the mentality with most Nigerians is money, 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 money. And that is the problem. We need to have some sense of patriotism. We need to have some sense of humanity. And I hate it when people say, I don't deal on emotions. I don't have empathy. I don't care about morality. It's about legality. You see, as a human being, we are beginning to lose what humanity means. Everybody now is trying to be too focused on very selfish, and I know it is one of the what do you call it one of the effects of the last days. People are going to be lovers of their own selves, but at the end of the day, if we claim that we are all Nigerians and you are always thinking about your pocket, of what value is that, of what impact is that to your society? Do you understand? You have access to oil, and instead of selling it to your neighborhood, you are taking that oil to another country just because you want to make more money. What does that say of us as a people? When other countries like our other African countries are looking at us, what impression are we given when they hear the suffering and the scarcity on the news, and you're importing it to their own countries on black market? So we're in a situation whereby we know something is wrong, but because we do not care, we might as well carry on doing it. And we need to, get to a point where we say, okay, enough is enough. We need to look inward and say to ourselves, somebody who has money should not be respected. You need to tell us how you make money. We need to start respecting people who are doing the right thing. Do you understand? For me, I don't think Dangote is the solution. Because if I look at the cement industry and how much cement is cut, and I don't know for whatever reason, limestone is in Nigeria. I don't know whatever reason why cement should be that expensive, But except of course for their selfish interest. One person will wake up one day and then shoot the price up. There is no regulation of price. There is no subsidizing of price. They just come and raise everything up. And it is the same Dangote you are giving oil. If you give Dangote oil, I don't know whatever agreement they have with him, but let me tell you, it's not going to be cheaper than whatever you're buying now.
Exactly.
They're going to come up with a reason. So we need to be in a situation whereby, see, the same shell that is building our oil in Nigeria is the same shell that, of course, you buy fuel. If I want to buy fuel for my car in the UK, I will go to a Shell petrol station. But the same price, right, that I will buy from, there's a relative price mark for all the fleet stations, right? You can't see Shell saying, selling a ridiculous price, and probably Tesla will sell you that ridiculous price because it's a foreign company. No. So there should be a market regulation of prices. There should be an oversight of every because government is responsible for every single license from every single multinational companies or companies that do business with Nigerians. And in all of this, we're supposed to be looking out for the poorest of our citizens, of our population. Government is there to protect our lives and properties and make life easy, not make life ridiculously hard for people.
Exactly. The truth is that Nigeria as a country, I've already provided the solution. They said that our government refineries are being sabotaged by Nigerians, meaning people are deliberately destroying the refinery. Who are those destroying it? People who really want Nigeria's refinery not to work so that they can import fuel and then they get money from subsidy. Now, they gave license to people to build refineries way back during Jonah. License to build refinery. They also need license to buy crude oil. They didn't give them license to buy crude, but they gave them license to refine. So the question is, what are they going to refine? Is it water they will refine to fuel? So if you give somebody the license to operate a refinery and you don't give him the license to buy the crude oil, where will he buy from? He will not go and source from the international markets. That even makes his own cost higher. So a lot of people who are importing fuel today, they have license to build refinery. A lot of them. Now they are importing and selling and making quick money from the subsidy. So people are not, they are not interested in building a refinery. So I think the government should give license to people to buy the crude and buy at a subsidized rate. If, for example, the international oil price is $100 per barrel, sell to those people who are refining in Nigeria at $40 per barrel. Sell to them at $40 per barrel. And then they have no right to sell fuel for above 100 naira a liter.
And that's exactly what Russia did. I mean, Russia said,
we don't buy
Russia,
oil. We tap it for.
that's exactly what Russia did. Russia, they stopped buying gas from Russia. They made Russia a barrier state, so they had abundance of course, gas, and they needed to sell more to people. So what they did was they reduced the price because they are producing so much and nobody was buying. So when they reduced the price to about $60, some countries said, you know what, even though America said we shouldn't buy from you, man, we need your oil. And they started buying, like Japan. I mean, some other countries started buying. And they even said to them, okay, listen, you don't even have to buy in dollar. You can pay straight on Chinese yen. So even more people started buying. So I mean, you understand the economy of demand and supply. So if for example now that we say to ourselves, okay, if you have a means of setting up a local refinery, we'll give you license. You will see that there will be competition, and thereby it will drive the money or the price down. And Nigerians, there will be oil everywhere. Do you understand? But no, that is not their interest. Their interest is just like electricity. They don't want you to have electricity, so you buy generator. Do you understand? And then by buying generator, you will use more fuel to power the generator, because they know if you have light, you wouldn't need it, or you wouldn't need generator. So, but then that's not how to do business. I mean, they always look at things from the negative side of things, because, say for example, developed countries, yeah, they all have light 24 hours, but they still need fuel. Because what happens is that even if people have steady power and thereby not needing generator of fuel, what it will mean is that people will become more industrious, and when more industries come up, of course they will need fuel and diesel to run their industries and their machines, and they will become better. And when they become better, they will of course buy more cars, because here in the UK, you see, once somebody is 18, he wants to drive. The parents might probably have cars, each parents might have cars. So what will happen is that they will still need the fuel for cars. And even now that they are trying to switch to green energy, you will see that it does not mean that fuel will, of course, be irrelevant, but at the same time, they are shifting the money they are going to make from fuel. They are now shifting it to electric. So if you are driving things like electric, of course, it will of course work out to be more expensive to buy, and maybe it is cheaper to sort of charge than compared to petrol, or maybe relatively the same. But they have a better ecosystem, because it's green energy. So the government's position should not always be how to make money from the poor masses. It's how to make life better, how to better the lives of people, how to make the standard of living better. But you see that in Nigeria, all these guys are thinking is how to punish people, how to make life more miserable. And this is why I question the patriotism of our political class. I feel like they don't like the country. I feel like they are just there to make life tougher for people.
That is true. That's a fact. Now let me say something in a little different direction. I strongly believe that even if power in Nigeria is not fixed, once petrol can be fixed, I'll give you an example. We used to buy Malta Guinness way back. We bought Malta Guinness, and as a lot of they were saying, oh, the prices were going up. But we bought Malta Guinness at 20 naira. Bought Malta Guinness. When Malta Guinness up to 100 naira, it was very expensive. But the question is, how much was fuel per liter at the time Malta Guinness was selling for 100 naira. Fuel was around, it was around 65 naira per liter. Until today, Nigeria can still achieve 65 naira per liter for fuel if the solution I brought is taken. We will afford it. So if people are buying fuel for 65 naira per liter right now in Nigeria, people will not even complain about the lights that we don't have. People will not complain. Is it true? They won't complain about
no. Power does. So fuel helps in transportation as
I
also
know that power is important.
Power is ultimately important. Fuel helps for transportation, but electricity does more than does transportation.
Power is very important. However, where we are in Nigeria, if the fuel problem is fixed, we will have a better economy, even when the electricity is not fixed.
Yes, in terms of economy, yes, that will help the economy.
Yes. Electricity problem of Nigeria started long time ago. But the question is, as at that time we were having electric problem, why were things cheaper? Because as at that time, the price of fuel that we buy was still cheaper. It was. In Nigeria, everything goes up with fuel because there's no electricity.
Yes. And you will notice how much Nigerians depend on fuel during the fuel scarcity. I mean, it was like hectic because people rely on fuel to run their offices, their businesses, to even have the comfort of their homes. People rely on fuel for transportation. People rely on fuel for basically everything. So you sort of see, of course, if you have uninterrupted electricity, that would sort of drop demand for fuel. But then, that would then make sense if you make fuel even more expensive. Because, say for example, so how much we buy fuel here in comparison to Nigeria is more. Going back to the argument that they say that fuel is cheap, but then we have power uninterrupted here. So you have to make it. It's like how when they wanted to make the prepaid company for electricity, right? They made the prepaid this thing to come into play, and then even though it is more tariff for electricity, it still works out better because then people can turn off everything or even turn off their meter if they don't want to, or if they are traveling for 3 months, rather than they are not around and you're still bringing them bills.
Let's solve the basic problem in this whole thing. There's a basic problem we need to solve. The fuel price in Britain is how much per liter?
So it's like £1 gallon. Let's just give an average of £1.50. Let's just use £1.50.
Okay, £1.50. Now let us convert that money to Nigeria's money.
£1.50 using 900 will probably be about 1,350 or so.
Very good. Now, the poorest worker in Britain, how much does the poorest worker who works 8 hours a day, how much does that person earn?
So if you earn £9, which is the minimum wage, and you work for 8 hours, that's £72 a day, and then you probably don't pay tax because you're a minimum wage, but you pay NI. So let's say give and take, you're probably making £50 to £60 a day.
Then you now multiply by 25 days, or say 22 days.
Yeah.
Because
at least. So you do it by 25. So 25 multiplied by 72. Let me get my phone.
Okay.
72 multiplied by 25, 1,800. That's a lot of money.
That's 1,800. Okay.
I doubt. No. I doubt you make that much. So sorry. No, we did 50, right? £50. Let's just say £50. Yeah, times 25, 1,250. That's. Oh, Peter is going to log me out in 20 seconds. So probably I'll come live again, and I'll bring you on so we continue the mathematics. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, so I'm continuing from where I stopped and hopefully get Peter back on. Instagram, I don't know, for whatever reason, I think I'm having some issues. I can't go beyond 1 hour. I used to go like hours, but then either I was shadow banned or something. I can't go beyond 1 hour. So hopefully we get Peter back on the analysis we are doing. Sorry, we are running longer than normal today. It's because Peter has joined the live, and we need to continue these conversations because it doesn't make sense when people compare Nigeria to better economies where people have better lives. Saying that Nigeria sells the cheapest fuel is wrong. It's a wrong narrative. And as well as saying that Nigeria is not an oil-rich country is wrong, because of course we are the sixth largest oil-producing country in the world. And part of what is actually declared, hi Peter, you can send me requests. Part of what is actually declared is not actually what is being drilled. They even drill more. I think Nigeria reserve in terms of oil is a lot. So it's not that we can't fault on having enough oil. God has blessed Nigeria immensely, not just oil, with so many mineral resources. So the issue is not the oil. The issue is our government being
Trying to force subsidy on an already poverty-stricken population is. So yeah, Peter. So let's go with £50 for taxes and everything. So let's say you're making £9 per hour times 8 hours in a day. Bear in mind you have 30 minutes break, so that's 7.30. So 7 hours 30 minutes in a day. That'll probably give you roughly 60 something pounds. And then if you sort of take away the charges and everything, let's just say you have 50 to 60 pounds in a day. So you multiply that, that's about 1,200, and you take away NI or any other tax. That's about let us say 1,100 or so. Then you have to pay rent, which is one of the most expensive thing in the UK. Rent is quite expensive, and then pay for transportation, quite expensive as well, and buy food. So literally you will, if you are very prudent and you live in a smallest room, they call it box room, you probably will make about 300 pounds in savings. Now if you have a car, to have a car here is not just luxury, it's super luxury, because you have to pay MOT, you have to pay insurance, you have to buy fuel, which is of course a full tank would probably take you a week depending on where you're driving to. And then depending on how you go your car, you might be paying finance on that, and probably so there's so much that comes with car: ticketing, speed tickets, yellow tickets, parking tickets. There's so much that comes with the car. So I don't think somebody on minimum wage will even own a car. You won't try that. So you probably have to go with public transport, which is quite expensive as well. But go on with your analysis.
Let me now further the question, because I want viewers, listeners, and viewers to get a point where our government people don't really see and they don't tell them. If somebody who is earning minimum wage in the UK, all right, that person first of all will not go and be living in the house where a doctor in the UK will live.
Mm-hmm.
Just as in Nigeria, a lecturer in University of Benin does not live in a house that a junior staff member of the same University of Benin lives. They live in two different apartments. Everybody go to their level. They go to the level that they can pay, that they can afford, all right? So somebody who earns, say, £1,200 a month, all right, will earn £12,000 a year. Now, his rent at his level of income, how much do you think will be the cheapest rent in a cheap area, based on your own estimation, in a cheap area that
so you can't go below 300, 400 mark for a box room in the cheapest area. So if you go to where you have a lot of blacks or council houses and you get a box room, you probably won't go below £400 a month. So I mean, accommodation is the most expensive thing abroad, especially in the UK. I mean, UK is even better off. People that live in Dubai, they share like 8 people share a room. People that live in places like Singapore is even worse. I mean, accommodation is the biggest issue. So if you probably take home 900, a chunk of that will go, if not half of it, will go towards your accommodation. So let's go with the 400 if you manage to get a box room, or 450 or even 500 if you want to have a whole room to yourself. But if you're in a box room, or what they call a box room, which is literally very tiny bed, yeah, let's say 400 or 450.
Okay. Now we are looking at 400 pounds out of 1,200. We have 800 left. Now feeding. For if one person wants to feed who is earning low, how much do you think the person will spend on feeding in a day?
It doesn't work like that. We don't, I mean, depending on the person, of course. If you start eating out, that means you will go broke easily.
And
So what we used to do when I was a student, yeah,
they would rather
yeah,
buy
when I was a student, what I used to do was to kind of go to the African shop, right, which is quite expensive, you know. Rice, I think 5 kg used to be like £5. I don't know how much it is now. What I buy now is 20 kilo, and 20 kilo is about £25. But that will last you a firm number of months. So I used to buy like 5 kilo, and that probably is about £5 then. I don't know how much it is now, probably £7. And if you buy like tomatoes, that's like 4 for £1. So let's say you can spend £50 on an African shop and make a bowl of you can make a bowl of stew and soup, and then put it in the fridge and bring it out every evening and eat. Yeah, and then probably buy bread £1.50, and be making tea as your breakfast, and probably eat out in the afternoon or when you go to work, if you carry some of the food and go to work. So let's say you give your feeding, let's say £100 a month. If your food lasts you for 2 weeks.
Okay. Now we are looking at somebody earning 1,200 a month. He spends 400 on rent. He spends 100 on food. That's 500. Let's say other bills, electricity, gas bill, and all of that. He spends 200. That's his spending is like 700. Then going to and from work, another 200. That's 900. So such a person can save 300 in a month after everything. It simply means that in a year, which is 3 times 12, that's where we are talking about. Okay, 3,000 basically.
Let's say 3,000.
Around 3,000 basically. So if somebody saves 3,000 basically as a poor earner in the UK, let us now come to Nigeria, where fuel is cheaper than the UK. The basic salary of a level 1 person, worker, is 30,000 naira a month.
That's the minimum wage.
Minimum wage, yes. It's 30,000. That's for those who even have the job. because
a lot of people are jobless.
Exactly.
Unemployment is 40-something%, and that's ridiculous. 40-something% are roaming the streets, jobless.
Okay. So now the one that has job is 30,000. That's lowest. Now let us see where he will live. If you live in a very poor environment in Benin City, very, very poor, your rent in a room, if it's too poor, is 3,000 naira a month.
Yes.
So remove 3,000 from 30,000 is 27,000 left.
Yeah.
Then transportation, when you want to go and live in such a poor place, it means you will pay higher transport. Because you could pay like 3 transport to work, 3 back, 6. Whereby we are looking at nothing less than 600 naira or 800 naira a day as transport. If your transport is very cheap because you trek a long distance, say 600 a day. You go to work Monday to Friday, that's 5 times 6, 3,000 a week. So you are spending 12,000 on transport a month, 12k plus rent of 3,000, 15,000. Half of your money is already gone. Then feeding. If you eat from the dustbin, that is when you can survive on 500 naira a day. That's if you eat from the dustbin.
My mom says to me that a meal now in Nigeria, like if you go to Mama Put roadside woman food seller is like 1,000 naira for a plate.
That is what we are talking about. So if
that's
somebody
really
is eating,
so literally, if you are eating one meal in the afternoon, a whole month, that's your 30,000 naira gone.
It's already, yeah, exactly. So when somebody is not living on 500 naira a day, all right, which is less than the $1 mark, already that worker is living below poverty, first of all. But by living below poverty, you will spend exactly 15,000 naira, which is your balance. That's what you spend on food. You have not bought any shirt. You have not bought soap to wash the old clothes you have.
People don't even worry about clothes. I mean, they worry about you provide your own medical care. Remember, in the UK, I mean, NHS is free. But then in Nigeria, if you have malaria, you have to go and buy. And people fall sick easily in Nigeria. So because of the dust, the air is not clean. So you have to go and buy your own drugs.
You know, we buy water in Nigeria. We buy water in Nigeria. You see, that level 1 civil servant cannot afford to buy pot, cannot afford to buy plate, cannot afford to buy soap. So the only way he may be able to take care of transport is to be begging people that come to their office. That is why down to the airport, people always say anything for the boys. Nigerian workers are hustlers because
you're analyzing. Let's analyze NYSC Alawi. It's 19,000, Abi.
And now they said it's 31, I think 33,000 now.
Okay, it's been increased from 19,000.
Yes, to 33,000.
You know, once you graduate, your family takes it that you're already working. Government is paying.
I remember
one of the things I want Nigeria to abolish is that NYSC. I feel like
I'm telling you, it's useless.
I think that's really, really ridiculous. I mean, the concept of it, I see, the man that does the shoe for the whole NYSC is Abuja is extremely rich. I know this because I've been to his house. So let me tell you, you see, most things we have in Nigeria is like, may God help us. Let's put it on God, because if God allows people like APC politicians to keep coming in power, oh my goodness, there is no savior in sight. There is no salvation in sight. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. We are still in a darker tunnel, or we come out of the tunnel and we meet another darkness. Maybe it's still night time. Because what I'm looking at is people who don't really, really care, and they are coming to be more ferocious than the past. Because you can't tell me that you mean well and all this evil is happening, and instead of us to have a government that tried to shun, not even because somebody come and said it on TV that it's the body language as well. You know, you hear of all these accusations, you know, that somebody have a drug case, his age, everything is, you know, all these revelations, dual citizenship and everything, and the government is still quiet and still want to transfer power to that person. What does that tell you? You see, we need to be conscious of the people. At least have a body language that, okay, and somebody said it, that at least during good luck, yeah, there was like this body language that we are trying to fight corruption. I mean, Obasanjo set up the EFCC in the first place. But then what we have now is that there is not even any body language of we are fighting corruption. I've said this thing before. The last arrest that they made before this recent 2 billion naira guy that they arrested, the outside guy, was Ukorocha. That boy they made the FCC whatever. That guy is completely dummy. Like, I don't know what he does. Do you understand? So we're in a place whereby corruption is like a norm. You talk about election rigging happening, and what every FCC will respond to you is that this is not the first one. There's always rigging in every election. As if it is okay. So what's the point of signing the electoral law into law then? Is it not to make sure that people don't do those things? So it is as if we are hell bent on being corrupt people. We are hell bent on being mediocre. And that's why you see people saying, oh, why should you do this? Why they shouldn't take away, the mother should be released, blah, blah, blah. Because they are stuck in that mentality. They don't understand that people have left them long ago. People are trying to make their societies better, to make their systems better. But our own is, we're okay with corruption. We're okay with evil. We're okay with mediocre. We're okay with, so we need to come to the consciousness of, okay, where we are is bad, and we need to leave it. We cannot all be in this big hole and refuse to want to climb out of it.
I want to talk a little about hope. And show you Nigeria and the UK. A level 1 worker, somebody who's earning minimum wage in the UK, can afford to plan his life. He will plan. One day, he will buy a car. One day, he will live in a better house. He can plan it and eat it. But do you know, in Nigeria, no matter how much plan you have as a level 1 worker, forget it.
A call will come from village. No, you're even talking about, random calls will come and take away your savings. If your savings is still safe in the bank, you know how many people have been helped? You know how many people have been helped because somebody took them of their life savings? Maybe you are saving to buy a phone, your phone. Because one of the common problems that these people we are talking about, people at the bottom of the pyramid, people who are living under this poverty line, one of the biggest problems they have is they want to have at least a good phone. Because whether you like it or not, people use their phone to sort of escape depression. So they go on WhatsApp, have a chat, one or two, spend a few minutes on online, and probably feel like they have something to be happy about. So when you're trying to buy a phone and then some Yahoo boy somewhere cleans your account, you are back to square one. So I don't know how many of your friends are in this thing, but like I have a lot of friends that you look at them and you're thinking, oh, come on, man, this guy's supposed to be to be married by now. But he's not married because he's trying to save himself. He's trying to find his feet. And
exactly.
Nigeria has a way of making you plan, I'm going to marry next year, And it's not easy. At least you should have a stable, and when things are, as if it's going to pick up, the next thing, Nigeria destroys everything again and you go back to square one.
Let me quickly share what Fela said in Overtake. Don't overtake. Fela said his friend is a level 1 worker with government, and the guy does not collect bribe. It's not into bribery and corruption. He said that guy wanted to buy fan. He wanted to buy ceiling fan. Standing fan. And the cost was 50 naira. This guy saved for 6 months to get 50 naira. By the time he wanted to pay for the fan was now 70 naira. He now went back to work for extra months to save 70 naira. When he got there, they said the fan was 120 naira.
Exactly.
Now he now finally went for another 6 months to save money. When he had 120, the fan was 200 naira. He said at this time that guy got to understand.
Do you know why I'm laughing? Do you know why I'm laughing?
No.
I'm doing a little project, yeah. They give me a quote. I will be working with that figure. And when I think I'm ready,
It will increase.
I,
It will
I will
increase.
be told that the price has gone up. I thought the guy was trying to rob me. So I tried to find out from somebody else, another source, and they told me it's even worse. See, Peter, this is what exactly I'm trying to say, right? You can't have a system whereby even government themselves cannot plan. It's affecting
Yes.
them because you want to do a project and somebody comes up and say, okay, to build a school costs you probably 300 million. And the next time, by the time they go through Senate, go through blah, 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 and release the money, that go to have increased cement to 6,000. And that's how they do it. You buy cement today like now, 5,001. The next morning, the seller will tell you it's 5,005. Will you fight him? You are telling me, tells you that the trailer that brings it said that before they offload, they have to be paid so and so amount. And nobody says nothing. Here, they have market regulatory authorities that make sure you don't just come and hike price. Who born you? Who born you? See, this is water. Of course, this water might be better quality than the normal plastic water that you can buy from the market, yeah? Because probably it's in the hotel, okay? But, of course, whoever wants to go with this water can afford it. But you see that normal bottled water, If you go to Cisco now, you will see that there are sort of classes of bottled waters, depending on what they use to make the bottle, the plastic itself. Tesco will sell a very cheap multi-pack water, and they will tell you that this bottled water is not meant for individual resale. It's meant to be sold in a pack of 6 or pack of 5 or pack of 4, no matter depending on how they package it, because they are trying to make sure that it is families that are, of course, trying to use it for a day-to-day this thing. That you're not trying to use it for business, okay?
Yes.
These are things that government do to make sure they balance things. So if you want to go for this one, it's not because you don't have water. It's purely because you are now trying to live luxury. You see, London is a place, or UK is a place where you come and you see different classes of people. Of course, they will tell you that the difference between the rich and poor is not seen much in the society. Yes, that's true, but that's not entirely true. Of course, there are shops you will walk in and people will look at you like, what are you doing here? I'll start reaching out to call the police. Because, of course, they think you don't belong to the class that come in there.
Yeah.
If you want to, it's like what Lamborghini said, that they don't advert on the TV because their customers or their audience are not watching TVs. They are trying to tell you that their product is not meant for everybody. Okay? If you take your car to probably Toyota or Mercedes to go and service, it's going to cost you a fortune. So, but that does not mean that if you have a car, you want to do MOT, you cannot find another roadside MOT dealer that can do the same thing for you. So there are still classes. If you want to go and shop in Oxford Street or you want to go and shop in Mayfair, of course, you go there and you can see whatever you want. You see your match. If you want to go and live in top-end, luxury places, of course, you go there and you pay the appropriate council tax. Or if you don't have the money you can choose to go and live in some lower council banded places. That is it for you. But you cannot have a lesser quality. At the end of the day, it's water. It is still water with the inside. So they will not say, okay, because you can't afford this water, the other water is going to be bad for your health. No. But what you have in Nigeria is that the person selling the pure water could be making it in his house. So there is no. Yes, of course, if you want to buy bottled water in Nigeria, you can buy bottled water. Probably people will go forever water if they want to do posh. But at the same time, people that are buying the pure water, there is no regulation to make sure the pure water is at least okay to drink. Are you getting the difference now? So we need to regulate our markets to make sure, yes, there is affordability prices for the very least, and you have to always bear the poor people in mind, right? And at the same time, make sure that at least that poor population does not just die off because they've taken things that are not supposed to be in the market in the first place. These are the function of the government. You don't always have the rich people in mind. But Nigeria, say for example, one of the guys in the Senate was being questioned on how they pass bills. And he said, oh, why the Senate do recess is because they are meant to take those bills back to their community and speak to their community. I'm asking you, Peter, sorry for putting you on the spot. Has any of your Senate or House of Rep inquired from you or have a forum or a town hall meeting to ask you of any bill that have been passed in Nigeria? Do you even know your Senate? Because I don't know my House of Rep. Do you know where your secretary is?
Since 1999, I have never experienced it.
You see?
Never. Since 1999. I know where a senator, the senator now where I live, the senator for this Edo South, I know his house.
Mm-hmm.
The thing we noticed is that the house was sitting on the 100 by 100 land.
Mm-hmm.
When he got to Senate. It was one duplex. The duplex was not, there's one duplex I want to show you. This duplex here, this one is a mansion compared to that guy's duplex. This is a mansion, big one. He had a duplex. Then, now, as we speak, the same senator, his land in that same area where he has been living is more than 2 acres. This is his,
and you know,
it's more than 2 acres. Now, that is the progress we have seen in his own life since he got to Senate. Then the progress we have seen in some areas in the same Edo South is solar street light, some sewing machines, all right, 1 or 2 seminars organized in different places. They say, oh, they are organizing seminars for the youth, for, to entrepreneurship, where they are giving like 50,000 naira after the training. They can gather like, say, 200 youths, for example. And then we don't know how much they budgeted. Probably if you go and check their book, it may be 500,000 that they give to one person. But finally, after giving the person that is committed to make noise about something, so that they just need to have a video or pictures of, there was one seminar here, there was one seminar there, that they will now share that money, all right? Constituency money don't finish. But when you now look at the property that we know, we are not talking about the ones we don't know. We are talking about the ones we know. There is a street in the senator's, inside his compound. There is street. Do you understand? There is street inside his compound.
And do you know what? This guy said, call him by name, Matthew Uhogide.
Okay, this guy.
He doesn't even. In fact, to him, in fact, you even give a fantastic CV compared to what other senators are doing. Because the man was in the Senate for over 28 years. They beat him in Germany. I've said this thing before in your life.
I saw the video.
Now you need to understand something. The guy on channels, right? They were asking him about this constituency projects. What's the need of it? Should it be taken away from the Senate? And he said, but the constituency still needs projects in their constituents. So I said, okay, fair enough. So are the governors not supposed to develop the whole state? Why is senatorial zone need to have a special whatever that comes from the Senate, where your primary law should be lawmaking? You see, I don't know where they pick all this nonsense from, because is it the Americans that are practicing this or what? Now, come to think of it, right? The same guy said that politicians, he said there's hunger in the land. And one of the most creative things to do now is politics. And that is why you see people going into politics. And like what you rightly said in one of your lives that I was watching, one guy that we said went to Germany that used to be a thug. Some of them, they do all this thuggery because they want to serve the Oga well and probably get rewarded like MC Roma and the rest. Now, what we need to understand is, a man gets into power, has one car, like that guy was saying in the morning, and then eventually has fleet of cars now. And nobody is asking questions. But is it me and you that is supposed to go and ask questions? Is that not supposed to be the function of the police? Is that not supposed to be the function of EFCC? EFCC is in different states or different zones. EFCC is not just in Abuja. But when When people on paper that are supposed to do these functions are not doing it, is it me and you that are supposed to do it?
That's
Are you
the
getting the point? So,
yes.
and now you come to fuel subsidy, you want the people to come and buy fuel more money. Whereas you know people who are doing this and you're supposed to go after them. Where is the accountability? Where is the oversight? Is it the people that are supposed to have oversight that are stealing that are going to have oversight when they know they are already coming with dirty hands and not clean hands? How can they come to equity? And that is why when you hear some people in their life saying that Nigeria is Keneko, let us fight so power will not go to the north. Maba, I prefer Atiku to even carry power than Tinubu. Atiku does not have any drug-related issue. We are a mockery of a country. How can you even prefer a Tinubu to an Atiku? Atiku was a vice president before. Somebody has drug issue case, have identity issue and everything. It is even better you are stealing money. We know everybody is stealing money. Than you have all this kind of nonsense on your TV and you want to be a president of a civilized country. Are we joking?
The truth is, I've said it several times that let's remove sentiment.
Remove sentiment. Igbos will prefer that an Atiku wins. Honestly speaking, and I've said this thing before. Igbos don't need Senate presidency. We don't care about Senate presidency. We don't care about Ojusokalo. We don't have a trusted candidate as far as the Senate is. We're not even concerned. An Igbo man have been Senate president. Multiple of them have been in one administration, right? We don't care about it. If you want to give it to Fabio, all well and good. What we know is that P2B won the election and P2B is coming in. And that's what Igbo wants. Igbo presidency, not to go for Senate president. You're not using it to make us happy. Does that make sense?
The truth is, the election of Senate, a lot of the senators, their election, if you contest it in the court, you will waste your money for a lot of them. Still not all of them. There are some that will be contested and you will win. But majority of the senators, if you contest their election, you will lose. Because if you check from Beavers, there was no manipulation for many that I know. But when it comes to presidency,
Labour Party got a few, I think at something else or thereabout.
yes.
And nobody, no Labour, no obedience have ever questioned the House of Reps and Senate. And this is one thing that these guys are not telling themselves the truth. You see, when DF come online and he keeps attacking obedience, it pisses me off. Do you know why? If you keep calling obedience names and saying, oh, they are tribalistic, they are all from Igbo. Listen, let's face it. If Tinubu wanted to be clear and everybody know the umpire was right, all of us
would have. For me, I would have.
Questioning the House of Rep and the Senate. Everybody is questioning the presidency because we smell foul play. How can Yakubu Mahmoud, on national TV, admit of late deployment to all Southeast states that he is the one that authorized late deployment? So 7 o'clock, they already started the election in the north. 2 p.m. INEC is nowhere to be found in the southeast, and then you reduce the number further. You see, let me tell you something about the demographics of Nigerian political. What do you call it? The geopolitical zones, right?
Yes.
The whole Igbo land is captured in southeast. The whole Yoruba are captured in southwest. So that's 2 geopolitical zones out of 6. Southwest even have multiple nationalities. So you have the Jaw, the Urobo, the Shekiri, the Benin is part of South, right?
Yes, South.
Yes. So all of that are captured in South. Then you come to the north, which is the other 3, and you see the Hausa and the Fulani, which is more than one what do you call it? Geopolitical zone. So that displaces balance. Okay. Now what we have to be intentional is how to be just and fair to every sector. Now Obasanjo has produced Obasanjo is from the west has produced presidency, produced vice presidency. So why is Tinubu on what altar is it come? And it's interesting to see
no ground.
It's funny to see the same APC arguing fairness and justice. You see, sometimes when you do selective judgments or selective justice, it doesn't make sense. So you guys knew there's something called fairness and equity and whatever, and you allowed a Yoruba man, of course, to take the place of Igbos because you know the numbers are against them because of how they were all placed in one geopolitical zone. But then that said, even if you go on competence, like I said yesterday in your life, I don't understand how somebody can compare P2B, because P2B is not coming as an Igbo president. Bear that in mind, right? I don't understand how somebody will compare on competence, on track record, on transparency, compare a Tinubu and a P2B and choose a Tinubu. It doesn't make sense to me till tomorrow. If it was Sanusi Banjo on APC, if it was Edevu Mai even, okay? Or if it was a weekend PDP, it would have been a fair judgment to say, okay, P2B, you can try in 2027. But right now, with what everybody know about APC, with what they are giving us, nah. It doesn't make any sense. And we're not contesting any other ticket other than the president.
In 2015, they told us that there will be student loan. In fact, na Tinubu who microphone talk out. We will give you student loan 2015.
What did this guy now say, Femi Adesina? That people were making promises on behalf of the party and not Buhari himself. Hey God. These people think they are taking us as fools.
The same Bala Blue carry microphone 2023. Still say we will give you student loan. In fact, when he was saying it in 2023, the voice reduced because battery don't low. When he battery still charge 2015, he shout say there will be student loan. 4 years will be 4 years. 2023 now, he can say there will be student loan, 4 years course, 4 years job, 7 years course, 7 years job. First of all, there's nothing like a 7 years course in Nigerian university. So it means the man is not even aware of what he's saying.
That's obvious. I mean, we can sit and talk about these things and how we are faced up, and time will not be our friend. But then, Peter, just to end, I really want to leave my final thoughts as solutions rather than repeating the problems. When it comes to government licenses, government should start giving license to Nigerians, especially well-meaning Nigerians that are credible and vetted, to do things that will help the economy. And one of them is the local refineries, right? And also, we can revoke licenses. If we know somebody is abusing things or making life of Nigerians, excruciatingly painful. Imagine for somebody that is trying to build a little shop or build a little place for shelter, and you are selling cement from 800 naira or from 1,000 naira to 5,000 naira, and the income is what? Economy, come on. You can't allow things to be going up like that. There must be a regulation. In our meeting, right, I belong to one village group trying to do a little thing in Nigeria for our village. And we budgeted something just within a space of 1 week. The price of when we just gather the money, so let's go and buy. Within 1 week, the price has gone up. And that's exactly what I was saying. I said, you better buy this thing before June, because from June, as I was even talking, let's go quickly and buy it. Within 1 week, price don't go up.
That's Nigeria for you.
And the thing with Nigeria is that once it goes up, it doesn't come down.
That is what we are facing. The country actually is ruled by people. You see, yesterday I said something. I said, those who believe that Tinubu will work, all right, are those who believe that when you pay for mango to be planted in your compound and they bring cassava stem to plant for you, you now believe, they now convinced you that cassava in the next 5 years will begin to produce mango. For you to believe them that cassava stem they just planted for you is mango, that actually you are seeing it as cassava, but when it grows in 5 years time to be producing mango. If you believe, then you believe that Tinubu will work, it will transform Nigeria.
That's not even what DF was saying. DF said it was to bring resources to the south.
No, see,
I mean that's a justifiable reason to him. Bring resources to the south. One of the best presidents that Nigeria ever had was Yara.
DF,
and he's not from the south.
DF already talk, say, normally in a minister of defense. You understand? See, the day she said DF you to say in a minister of defense, my heart is just at peace. Anything when you're talking now, no say we're not from top of fence. When it's
I beg, I want to end the life, but I want to say something. As big as UK is, as rich as UK is, as sophisticated and advanced as UK is, their prime minister is a foreigner. Their mayor, the mayor of London, is an Indian man. Are you getting me? Yes, British, but Indian origin. So it doesn't matter to me whoever delivers Nigeria. Even like I said, the best president Nigeria has ever had was Yaradua. And according to you, it was Murtala Mohammed. So if these men are not from Igbo land, I don't care. Yeah. Any Igbo man you ask if Oju Zokaro should be a Senate president will tell you no. Do you know why? Because he is a hopeless governor in Abia State. Look at how happy Abians were when OT won. They don't even know what they will pay from OT. But as far as there is not PDP, are you getting it? So, for me, this is not a time to be doing tribe. This is a time, see, you have to sit up and walk. People are shining their eyes like this. There was a time that as a politician, things would have been easy for you to steal, but not now. Because people have been so hungry. Their stomach have been so empty that their eyes are wide open. Because you get as hunger go beat you, you know, if sleep, Peter.
True.
For night, your eyes go wake, your brain go dey process. You go day in the day before day go break. Because you are trying to think about how to make money. So, exactly. The government that, you know, they don't care about us. And we're in a place that we need to start showing super interest. Go and register in parties. Even if you know what they're saying, go and register in political parties. Know who is your house of rep. Know who is. Start asking questions. Make life hard for these people. You know? All these borrow. It's like Buhari and his finance team and his cabinet are experts in borrowing. I don't know how they draft the documents. And these guys are so intelligent that they will draft documents that, you know, any country that will see it will give them money, including willfully giving China our sovereignty just because they want money. The railway we built, how much revenue has it created? Nonsense.
The elites that joined Buhari to destroy our economy, they are the Tinubu squad. Not the same people.
All of them were nominated, including Yakubu. Brutai is in the supposed list. See, because it's still the same APC now. Is it going to get some people from Labour Party or PDP? No, it's going to be the same APC. Okay, look at the war going on now in APC in the Senate. People came and said APC is the largest party in Kineko, and because of that, there's so many dissident voices. But let me tell us the honest truth. These guys are just, and they will say it openly, they all care about party. And this is why I'm beginning to question democracy, because democracy have been in play in Nigeria now for over 60-something years, and we cannot have power. And look at Mali, look at what Mali did. Look at what other African countries are doing. They are shifting from democracy. Honestly, if you know what I was thinking earlier, I was listening to John on that Freeze Live, right? I was saying, John is what fit Nigeria. We need to get people like John in politics. We need to get people like John in politics, because it's like we need to use some extreme to find some extreme. You know,
John
and sometimes you need people like that. It's like having people like Trump or Putin. They don't care who they offend. They are going on their own tangent. They are ready to fight you. But then these are the challenges you are facing, and I'm beginning to think, right, when it comes to democracy, they are all telling you to be law-abiding, to be civilized, to be keneko, but then themselves, they can get away with anything, and democracy allows them to do that. You know, so I'm beginning to question all these things, and I'm really, really hoping, because honestly, leaving America or leaving the dollar system to go and join the BRICS is not the right thing for us now. All we need is good people in power that can work with the Americans. And if you are offered a land or a house in America, you turn it down. I so much love Peter Obi. He's teaching us so many things that if we are sitting down, we are paying attention, we'll learn. He's a billionaire. He has only 2 houses, one in Onitsha, one in London where he was living. Other than that, he doesn't care about houses. And he's a billionaire. And people will come and tell you, buy this, buy that. Ekwere have over 40 mansions. Today, Ekwere is in jail, he's in prison. Are you getting me?
He's sleeping
So
on one
people
small
miss the
bed.
point. Acquiring wealth, acquiring wealth. What for? What for? Why not be somebody that can come up and boast that in all the countries of the world you don't have any single crime? You've not defaulted in your payment. You see, righteousness exalts a nation. You know, sin is a reproach. Do you
Yes.
understand? If you place Peter Obi now and place Ekweremadu, this is the same Ekweremadu that is saying, don't vote for Peter Obi, blah, blah, blah. Look at him. Do you understand? So we need to pay attention to these things. You know, our society has gone off in and just talking about every conversation is revolving around sex and money, and it doesn't make sense. And I always ask myself, if this group of people talking on this live are Chinese, what will the conversation be about? If this group of people talking are British or Americans, what will the conversation be about? You see, we are all bent on talking about nonsense, things that don't matter, things, stupid questions, you know, single mothers, whatever. And we need to start talking about things that affect our life policies. We need to fill our heads with innovations, you know. I really want us to sort of look up to the other day, Bill Lord came under the Freeze Live, and it's something to learn one or two from. When they asked him a question, why didn't you sell the take the $20 million? The man said it's not about money. They told him, what about selling shares? He said it's not about money. That is the point. You have an idea, you have a small company, you are seeing it grow. Even if it doesn't make as much profit in the next 10 years, it is your company. That's why Tony
Yes.
Elumelu refused to sell to $1. This is something he's built. Now it's not about money, even if you want to project it to a business of 2 trillion. No. On the flip side of it, somebody like what's the name of this guy that married Mr. Easy sold his own for $1 billion, and that's mega bucks, right? Maybe that's what it's about, selling his money, or maybe he thought he's gotten to a point you can sell. After all, Instagram was bought by Facebook. Companies swallow companies. Google bought YouTube. If it gets to that point, you can sell. But in life, you never have to do everything about money. Money is a consequence. You know, our communities, you know, the kind of conversations we're supposed to be projecting ourselves into is, how do we solve the many problems in Nigeria? I was listening to Bill Lord. Bill Lord said, because of Naira scarcity, a young boy approached him and sold him the idea of creating an app that doesn't have to depend on the banking system. And today, voila, we have a company that is up 24 hours that can solve that problem. To me, what interests me more than the 10 million he's making a month is that he has the ability to provide a service that can sustain the people. Because somebody might just need to make an urgent call for an emergency situation to his brother to say, mommy is sick and has to be rushed to the hospital, that you have solved the issue. Had it been that app is not there, the bank is not working, he can't make that call, he can't buy credit. These are things we are supposed to be looking at. And as a consequence, you make money, yes. But then you don't go all out and say your agenda in life is to make money. We need to be principled enough to turn away from money when money is there and you have to make a bad decision to make money. And when we do that, we are going to raise a society that are conscious of what they are doing to the next person, of what, you know, what your actions could mean to the next person. And that is where we're supposed to be going to. Because yes, necessity is the mother of all invention, yes. But then more to that is that we are supposed to be having conversations that are, you know, leading us to how do we solve problems. There's way too many of them in Nigeria. How do we solve these problems?
That's so true.
So, my brother, thank you so much for joining. At least it's actually better this way when I have somebody I'm having a conversation with. Thank you so much, Peter. And like I said, I think I started watching your 4 hours last night, or 3 hours. So I will get through it, and it keeps me going. When I'm working, I'm just listening. I'm working and listening to you, so it's good. Thank you, Peter, and my regards to your lovely wife. And till next time, guys.
All right.
I promise Odera honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.